here's the big question. How are entrepreneurs like us, who have been hustling and struggling to make it to success, who seem to make it one step forward only to fall two steps back, who are dedicated, determined, and driven, how do we finally break through and win? That is the question, and this podcast will give you the answers. My name is Brian Kelly, and this is the Mind, Body, Business Show. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Mind, Body, Business Show. We have another fantastic episode lined up for you. Not because of me. Oh, no. Because Coleen Greco is here. She is literally, I'm looking at her. I can see her in the green room. And guess what she's doing? She's scratching at the monitor saying, "Come on, Brian, let me in. I'm ready. Let's go." Yep. And she's nodding in agreement. You might want to polish that scratch mark before you come on, Coleen. This is going to be a great show because of her. And you're going to find out why. If you want to uplift your evening, if you're watching this live, which I hope you are, then you are in the right place, because this woman defines the word joy. And she's got a rather compelling story to tell us. And I made her promise not to tell me until we went live. So I haven't even heard it. I can already tell with a few hints. It's going to be something incredibly powerful that you do not want to miss. So stick with us. The Mind, Body, Business Show is a show that I had developed with you in mind. And who is that? The business owner, the entrepreneur, that person looking to take their business to yet one higher level than where they are now. And that really means no matter where you are today in your entrepreneurial journey, you could be just starting out. Maybe you don't even have a business yet and you're trying to figure that out. Or you're somewhere clear on the other end of the spectrum and you are already hitting everything on all cylinders and you have a full-blown team and you're ready to expand and scale, maybe sell your business and buy another one and keep moving. No matter where you are, you're guaranteed to get something of value from this show. I've been doing this over 5 years now, and I personally know, especially with Coleen Greco, you will find something of value that you can take. And here's the thing. You're going to learn some amazing things from Coleen, and it's one thing to learn, but it's an entirely different thing to do. So do that. Learn from her. Take what she has said. Listen to her strategies, her experience. Put them into action in your life. And watch, just watch what happens. That's the beautiful part of it. That's the pure joy of it. Oh yeah, I got that one in there. So this is an amazing show because of guests like Coleen, and it is based on what I call the 3 pillars of success. And those 3 pillars are literally the namesake of this show. And they came from about 10 years of research on my part, where I just focused on successful people, not the ones that didn't succeed. While it is important to know what causes businesses to fail or not make it, it's also very important to focus on those that are already successful in your eyes, because that's a very objective thing, isn't it? Or subjective thing. Is that the right way? I always get that wrong back and forth. It's something that, if you see someone that has a level of success that you desire, then in your eyes, they are successful, more successful than you. And that's who I studied for a good long time. And these 3 pillars kept bubbling to the top. So to a person, each of these individuals, we're talking like mentors of mine. I have a mentor right now who I worked with for several years, who literally could be my son by age, sex, race, none of that matters to me if your values are in alignment with mine and if we have a synergy. And this young man taught me so much, and I spoke from his stage, became his lead trainer for a couple of years. So I learned from him. I learned from authors. I learned from some who I've met in person, like, oh my gosh, I'm trying to think of his name. He's a wonderful white beard. It'll come to me later. Oh, the E-Myth Revisited, Michael Gerber. Met him in person. He became a mentor of mine. And so many other authors, that many who aren't even with us anymore on this earth. And what I found is these 3 pillars kept bubbling up, and they were mind, which stands for mindset. And to a person, each of these individuals had developed a very positive, very powerful, and one of the most often overlooked attributes is also a very flexible mindset. And then body, literally body stood for and stands for These individuals took care of themselves, and some still take care of themselves to this day through exercise and healthy eating and drinking. And I know Colleen is a perfect, she's the moniker of all this. She's like the poster child for what I'm describing right now. So you're in great company. And then business. Business is a very multifaceted topic of what did they do? What did these successful people do? What they did was they mastered the various skill sets, of which there are many, that are required to build a successful and thriving business, and then to scale it and keep building and growing beyond. What kind of skill sets, you may ask? Well, skill sets like marketing, sales, team building, systematizing, leadership. I mean, I could rattle them off all day long. There's a lot. The good news is you yourself don't have to master any one or every one of those skill sets that I just mentioned, and all of the others that I didn't mention in addition, because let's face it, to master any one thing takes a great deal of our time, doesn't it? The good news is you can leverage off of really one. If you just focus on mastering one skill set right now, whether you're looking at sales or marketing or team building or systematizing, nope, it wasn't one of those. What if you just focused on this other one, and you could then, once you've gotten to the point of getting closer to the point of mastery of that, is start to pull in the other individuals, leverage that one skill set into pulling in many who already have mastered those skill sets that you have yet to, or let's face it, you may never master in your lifetime. That one skill set, if you were to focus and pump the brakes on everything else you're doing just for a while, is the skill set of leadership. Even if you don't have a team right now, even if you're a solopreneur, there are books written on this topic. I can't go into them. Well, I could. I'm not going to. I want Coleen to come on. But there are books written on it. And so you'll see a resource here coming up in a minute that will, you'll see several books that you can go get on the very topic of leadership. So it's a good news story. So just start learning and really putting into play great leadership approaches, strategies, and skills by learning, by reading and following others who lead in ways that you find that you like, that you see that they're successful with. All right, with that, another thing I noticed of these very successful people is that to a person, they also are very avid readers of books. And with that, I would like to segue very quickly and briefly into a little segment I affectionately call Bookmarks.
Bookmarks. Born to read. Bookmarks. Ready, steady, read. Bookmarks. Brought to you by reachyourpeaklibrary.com.
Yep, I promise Coleen is coming on very soon. I haven't forgotten about her. She's still there. She's just like, come on, Brian, enough already. Bring me on. Hey, real quick, reachyourpeaklibrary.com is a website that I had developed with you in mind for the purpose solely of giving you a library of books that you can go to that you know have been vetted by at least one other successful person. That is simply to make your time efficient so that your odds of wasting your time reading a book on this list are greatly diminished. I can't guarantee it will, but for me, these are all books I've personally read and I vetted. Not every book I've ever read is on there. Speaking of books, I have to put this plug in there. I just released my brand new first ever book of my own called, you guessed it, Mind, Body, Business. I started this book over 10 years ago. And I'm not kidding when I tell you this book and this title was the inspiration behind the very show you're watching and listening to right now. Mind, Body, Business. And it's the 3 pillars of success. So it's available now on Amazon and Barnes & Noble for a limited time. You can get the Kindle version for 99 cents. 99 cents. Go grab the book. There are some great exercises in here. It's an action-taking book. You will get results from it. Got some great reviews already. I hope you enjoy that. All right. Reach Your Peak Library. By the way, real quick, you are going to be learning about a lot of resources here. By the way, that's mindbodybusinessbook.com. That's where you go to get that, mindbodybusinessbook.com. You're going to learn like that, many resources. So rather than going off and typing them and checking them out and researching while you're either watching the show live or listening to it on podcast afterward, instead of doing that, please, for yourself, not for me, write it down. And then when the show is over, then go visit those resources that you took notes on. And the reason is because the magic happens in the room. Because it would really be hurtful if you were to miss a golden nugget that Coleen just said because you were busy focusing on checking out a resource. That would be horrible, because she's going to have many golden nuggets, and I don't know which one of them is going to change your life forever, but you'll see there will be one or more that can do that. And if your focus isn't with her, we just don't want that to happen. And this happened to me when I was speaking from stage in my early days, where I would see people get up and walk out right as I'm getting to the juicy part, and they have a text message that's all important, or they had to go to the restroom, whatever the case may be. So now I let people know, hey, keep your focus on, especially Coleen. Yes, she's coming on. I promise you, very, very soon. And so just do that, please, for yourself. I'm running the show and I'm taking notes myself. I'm the director, the producer, I won't say I'm the star. That's Coleen. That's not me. So you see the Reach Your Peak Library on the screen, reachyourpeaklibrary.com. And it is literally just a collection of books I've read over the years. I myself was not an avid or voracious reader until about 12 years ago. I started reading at the age of about 47. I'm just giving a pause. I know you all want to do the math and figure out, well, how old is he now? I get it. The curiosity in us. But you see, these books are in no particular order, not alphabetic. A lot of Grant Cardone all at once, because I read all of his books in one sitting. I mean, I just went through all of his stuff in this one period of my life. And I just said, as soon as I finished the book, I threw it to my team and said, hey, put this one on there. This is not here for making money if you buy your books at a physical store, but you see a book here that really resonates and it jumps off the page. Note it, write it down, go grab it, read it, and then, most importantly, as I will continue to repeat, put what you have learned into action. Speaking of action, it's finally time for Brian to close his mouth for a little bit so we can bring on the guest of the moment, Coleen Greco. Here she comes. Let's bring her on.
It's time for the Guest Expert Spotlight. Savvy, skillful, professional, adept, trained, big league, qualified.
And there she is, ladies and gentlemen. It is the one, it is the only Coleen Greco.
Wow, no pressure, Brian. I love it. Golden nuggets that are going to be life-changing. Yes to all of it.
I mean, what's a metal even more precious than gold? Because I would put that in there, because gold I don't think is precious enough. What is precious is you, because you are an entrepreneur. You built your life on joy. You learned how to make it an instrumental part of your life, and we're going to get that backstory in just a second. Oh boy, if you're listening, you watching right now, you're in for a great ride here. Real quick, I'm going to introduce this lovely lady, and then we're going to get her backstory. Does that sound cool, Coleen?
Love it.
All right.
Ready.
Coleen is a joyologist, as you can see on the screen. I love that. And oh, look at that. Joy is behind her. Joy is in front of her. Joy is everywhere. She is joy. She guides women to removing the stories, those limiting beliefs that keep them feeling stuck or less than. Born out of the trauma of her son's suicide attempt, she was put on a path to her calling, where she committed to teaching other women how to stand in their purpose and reach their potential. I get goosebumps. The more times I read that, I can't imagine what you went through. And I think that's a good segue to find out, Coleen, what brought you to where you are now? Why are you the joyologist? What were these life-changing events that occurred that brought you to this wonderful place you are now?
Yeah. Well, thank you, first of all, for having me today. It is a real honor to be here with you and your audience and my audience, putting them together. Best ecosystem ever. But, my career trajectory, I guess, if you will, is at first maybe not obvious, but I was in IT marketing in leadership positions for the last 26 years. I know I look like I'm 21, but I'm not. And and it wasn't until my son at the time was 10, and you've shared it, but I always like to say trigger warning if somebody missed it. He had a suicide attempt here in the house, and as you might imagine, that really brought our family to our knees, and it just felt like our entire world was caving in, and so it caused me to really evaluate everything that was going on in my life. I wasn't happy doing the work I was doing. I was very relationship oriented. I had always had like this air of customer service about the things that I would do. I was always in service to others, but it wasn't very fulfilling. But I didn't even realize it until this wake-up call, and it was a wake-up call, took place. In the very early days, I didn't handle it well at all. So I don't want to make this sound like, it was like a light switch and I finally woke up. I didn't. I ate and drank my feelings like anybody else for a few months. And as you might imagine, my weight went way, way, way up to a weight I hadn't seen since my pregnancies. And realized that if I'm going to be a good role model for him, my husband, and my other son, I've got to get my act together. And I've got to do things differently. There were no therapists or doctors that would help us, help him heal. And so the healing was really on us. Now we live in Boston. So if you can imagine no doctors or therapists being willing to help us, that's like all we have here. Right. So a little shocking, but I believe it happened for a reason. I really do. I believe we were meant to heal ourselves, and I would have loved the help. But what we ended up doing is I ended up, kind of getting my act together and treating my body better. We made a very conscious decision as a family that we were going to heal through love. We were just going to love him more than we could possibly love him, love my other son as much as we could possibly love him, love my husband, on and on and on, as much as we possibly could, because love is the answer to everything. And that was sort of my epiphany. And how we were going to do that was through joy. So joy in the smallest of moments, as I like to call it, right? And so in the early days, as you might imagine, you're living second to second. There is no what's for lunch, right? That's too far in the future. You're just trying to get to the next second and the next minute and make sure everybody's okay. And so the way that we started to piece our lives back together was through joy. And we would just look for joy in anything, in the silliness of our dogs and the silliness of each other. I can't tell you how many Instagram memes we would send back and forth about like stupid dog things or cat, whatever I could find, right? We would just share it. And that's how we started to heal, is just, to reconnect as a family. And, I don't want to go too long without saying he is annoying me like any 17-year-old boy should now. He is thriving. He just got inducted into the National Honor Society 2 nights ago. Right. He's doing amazingly well. We're touring colleges. Everything's great. But it was in those early days where it was joy was the thing. And it, I believe, put me on my path to my calling, where my role now is to teach other people how to anchor their life in joy, regardless of what their circumstances are. You could be in the middle of your own personal HE double hockey sticks, if I can't say it, you could be in the middle of that and still have joy. I can be in the middle of what we were going through and still find joy. It isn't a one or another type of thing. You can still have joy because it is a state of mind. It is a conscious choice. And, there is so much beauty and goodness around us. We just have to choose to see it.
Totally agree with that in so many ways. And that's what I preach the same thing. It's like wherever situation you are in right now is 100% due to your own choice, what you decided to make from that situation. We are human beings, and we are emotional human beings. And we do go through anger, hurt, sadness, guilt, all of the major negative emotions in our lives, or we wouldn't be human. And that's okay. The thing, though, is to understand and recognize when you are going through those and then snap out of it as soon as you possibly can, within reason. I mean, if you snap out too soon, you may leave residual. You'll know when it's right. But the choice is, do you continue to belabor the fact that, oh, that happened to me 10 years ago and I'm still PO'd about it? It's like, oh, please stop that. Don't do that. If someone says that. Oh,
right. Your energy.
Look at that.
Dennis, I love it. Good morning from China. Hello, China.
Sorry to interrupt you, but Dennis Nurmela, he's a friend of mine who is formerly from the United States, who moved to China, and he's teaching college students the English language, last I saw. And he has some great videos of his interactions with the people there, and it's completely different than everything we hear about here in the States. It's pretty remarkable. So Follow Dennis Nermella on Facebook and you'll see what I'm talking about. Okay, back to the wonderful Coleen Greco. So yeah, we were talking about choice, and we all have a choice. And literally, if you're happy or you're not happy, it's completely literally, some of you are going to be upset about this, but it's due to your choices. What do you think
Yes.
of that, Coleen?
Yeah, I mean, your energy can only go in one direction at a time, right? So I like to simplify it because that can get a little much for people, especially when they're in the mix of the thing that they're going through. So I always like to bring it back to, I live in Boston and the winters can be really cold. And we have dogs and I've got to take them out a couple of times a day. And so I can choose to be really annoyed and miffed that I'm freezing and they take like a solid hour to maybe walk a mile. It's really pretty awful. So so I can choose to focus on the fact that I'm freezing, or I can connect to their energy and appreciate all the playful, joyful, frolicky little things that they're getting, involved in. So which one gets my attention? Which one gets my energy? Well, it's the frolic part because that's more fun, right? People, I hear it all the time, like, I'm not good enough, I'm not smart enough, all the self-deprecating thoughts. And I'm like, that's maybe how you were conditioned to think. But I think this way is more fun. I think joy is more fun. So how do we get you out of that scenario and get you tapped into joy? Because that's where the money is. That's where where your abundance comes from. That's where your lifeblood is.
Yeah, I grew up in a very negative atmosphere. Didn't really even realize it till I became an adult or a young adult in college. And like, wow, I didn't realize that our family tended to look at everything from a negative lens. And it took me years to climb out of that. And thankfully for this science called neuro-linguistic programming, NLP for short, that helped me in very short order to completely snap out of it. And now I'm like, wow, life is wonderful. It
Yeah.
is joyous. I have gratitude no matter what situation I'm in. Yeah, I'll go through those negative emotions, but then I'll go, well, yeah, but look, I have this incredible view outside of my office. I have this amazing wife that I love more than life itself. I have so much that I have to be grateful for, and just getting in the habit of doing that, which I'm gonna guess is something you help people do. I want to get into that here soon too, Coleen. Is such a life-changing thing. It's a life-giving thing to
Yeah.
be able to have something to do with helping someone like me, especially, turn that negative thinking, that stinking thinking, into something that is so much more empowering, and it just works better for your life. It's the way I think we were designed, was to be joyous.
Yes, I totally agree. And I just want to make sure people are clear too. There is nothing wrong with wanting more. You're talking about your great view and your wife and all that, but it's about being thankful and recognizing that what you have is enough.
Yes.
I have a roof over my head. The lights are on. That's good. I have food in my belly. The temperature's great. I'm okay. Right? Do I want more? Like a little bit more in my bank account, or another friend, or the kids to listen to me like a tiny bit more than they do, just like a smidge. Yes, right? But I have enough. I'm fine, absolutely the way I am. So we get into this like comparative, situation where you're constantly looking at your neighbor next door and being like, well, they drive this and they have that. You have no idea what's going on in their world, and they
Oh,
would probably trade anything to have your reality. And so it's just anchoring on the fact that what you have is absolutely enough, but it's okay to want more.
yeah, there are the most miserable millionaires, and they're the most happy, less than
Yeah.
3 figures or 6 figures a year people.
Yeah.
It's amazing. The money truly does not buy you happiness. It can give you relief for sure, but it's not going to be the answer to your happiness. Material things aren't what makes you happy. It's human interaction. And you said it, Colleen, it's the word love. And that has nothing to do with money. Uh,
Yeah.
and
Well,
that,
and somebody used the term recently, stockpiling. Like your savings account is really stockpiling money. And I thought like, ooh, yeah, I don't want to be a stockpiler. I just want what I need to, like not worry about how much we're going to get at the grocery store.
Right.
And, when the tuition bill comes in, how do we pay it? That kind of thing. But like, stockpiling, that's like a Scrooge McDuck mindset. And
Yeah.
that's not who I am at all.
And that's the other thing. It's so, you may make a lot of money, you may stockpile some of it, but if there's no purpose for it, if it's just to make money and to put it in a bank, that purpose isn't a very compelling one, in my opinion.
Yeah.
It's everything I do is for the purpose of the betterment of either my family, my loved ones, or just the people in my circle, and
Mhm.
anyone else who happens to cross our paths, like right now, who are watching this show. I hope that what Coleen has brought to you right now, now in the moment, is having an impact on you, because it's doing it with me. And I've, studied this stuff. The more you repeat it, the better it is. The more
Yeah.
you go down the same path, but you get slightly different lenses and slightly different takes. And Colleen's is slightly different. And I love that. And just be a wondrous kid and enjoy and absorb and learn everything you can, and just do it with wonderment. And it's so much. I'm like, yeah, I'm 59, for those of you who did the math, and I am probably the happiest I've been in my life right now. No kidding. Not kidding.
Beautiful.
And so there's hope for all you. How's that?
Nailed it.
There's a lot of hope. I am so looking forward to the rest of my life. I truly am. However long that has, God knows. He's the only one that does, and I want to make the most of it and have a good time, and in a integrity based, high character based way, and have a good time with my wife, living our life together, enjoying our home and sharing it with our friends. Coleen, when you and your husband and your kids are in town, you got a place to stay. We bought this house to share it. So it's just a great time to be alive right now.
Don't threaten me with a good time. We will be there. I love it. Well,
Yeah.
and you're right? It's like, I tell people all the time, you might have 3 days left. You might have 3,000 days left. Maximize them regardless. Stop waiting until, Monday or next month or after my kid does whatever, right? Like, stop putting these unrealistic, unnecessary, what's the word I'm looking for? Like precursors on things. You don't have to wait. You can have joy right now. Like, I'm fulfilled. My cup is full. I'm having a great conversation with you. Hopefully other people are watching and they're getting a piece of our energy. But even if they're not, it's you and I. That's great. Like, I'm loving that. Right? Like, life is good. It doesn't get any better than this.
And it's very fulfilling when you learn to just take action on impulses that, look, there's no crystal ball. There's no guarantee that every decision you make is going to be the right one or correct one. But there is a guarantee that if you don't make decisions, you're definitely not going to move forward in your life. It's like a sailboat sitting in the water. If there's no wind pushing it, there's no way you can steer it to correct the course. But once you're moving, at least even if you're going the wrong direction, if you have wind pushing you and you're moving, you can actually alter your course and steer it in the right direction. Same with life. Is if you just sit and do nothing, you are guaranteed to get nothing. And that's unfortunate. And then I love how you were saying, quit, don't put stuff off. And that's like this old saying, people are always saying, yeah, I'll go do that someday. Someday I'll get a business. I'll start a business. Someday I'll have kids. Someday I'll get married. Someday. Well, last time I checked on the calendar, someday is not a day on the calendar. And so get with it, stay with it, as an artist that we follow likes to say, and just take action. Take micro risks. These aren't massive risks, but get out of your comfort zone. Get comfortable with becoming uncomfortable. Brian's preaching. He's got to be quiet. Go ahead, Coleen. Take it from here.
No, you're right. That's where the growth comes from. You're totally right. I'm like, preach. That is where the growth comes from. The minute you step outside your comfort zone, I tell people all the time, all you need is one foot on that path. Like, just like one toe. Like, it doesn't have to be your entire body. Don't worry about it. Like, we could take this as slow or as fast as you want, but it's one foot. And then it's like maybe the other foot. And then right. And it's very slowly, or as I said, or as fast as you want. But it's like, my mentor calls it unlearning. So it's unlearning, deconditioning all the things that you believe in your head. We all have these stories of, I'm not good enough. They're called limiting beliefs, but I also call them stories because I don't know, that seems to stick better with people. But these limiting beliefs are these stories that have us have us feeling stuck. I'm not good enough. I'm not smart enough. I'm too fat. I'll never have enough money. Uh, you know, I'm too much is another one that I hear a lot. There was a woman that contacted me today and she was like, I just don't have enough time. I'm like, okay. You have the exact same amount of time in a day. I do, but again, this is a choice thing, right? Like you're choosing to give your time towards certain things. And I wrote this article recently called, energy is the new currency. And it's the same with time, right? Like you have to be really careful about how you allocate your time. But I always tell people it's like with your paycheck, you always pull your savings out first and then pay your bills. It's the same with time and with energy. It's like you've got to reserve like 20% and then you start allocating it out. And some of them are investments, right? You and I didn't know each other before this show, and I am investing this time with the assumption that you're a pretty cool guy and we'll probably work together again at some point, right?
I hope so.
That's like an investment. I don't know how this is going to go. And then you have some transactional things like, you might like go out with, a friend for coffee. But you've got to, kind of like allocate your time. And this woman that contacted me is a people pleaser. Fine. But like, how do we get you to have enough self-love so that you value your time so much so that you are very intentional and careful about the way that you allocate it? And so we're going to be working together to get her to establish that firm foundation of self-love, understand how to set boundaries, and then teach people how she wants to be treated. Like that's the kind of work I get to do every day. And it's amazing. And it's so fun for me when that light bulb goes off. It's like a little kid, like when your kid that like the first time he started to walk, you were like, whoa, he's walking, or reading, right? It's like, holy cow, it's happening. That's the feeling when the light bulb goes off with these folks.
That woman you're working with she has no idea how blessed she is right now to have that acquaintance with you, because I can feel what she's going to open her eyes to, because I also was a people pleaser and I know what she's going through from that regard. And you always just say yes to everything. And then all of a sudden you realize I don't have any time to do anything. What happened? And then when you said it, learn how to love yourself. That is so, so important. And it's not one of those narcissistic, oh, I'm so awesome. It's not that kind of love. It's a respect. It's more of a respect for yourself. And when you respect yourself, others respect you more. Oh, she is going to, I'm so happy for her. I've never met her, don't know who she is, and I'm happy for you that this is what you chose to do, because that is life-changing work that you're doing. And so kudos. I'm not, if I could show people, I'm not going to stand up, but I got goosebumps all over my body and my legs, my arms, because I love meeting people like you. And most everyone I have on this show, turns out they are people who serve others. We are here to help and serve others. Do we transact money for that? Yes. Is money important? Yes, it is. But I can tell you right now, without a shadow of a doubt, over 5 years of doing this show, money is never the focus. It's the result.
Yes.
It's the result. And then with that money, you are freer, like you said, not to worry about the bills and the grocery bills and the tuition coming in. And I was like going through the memory of that. I was like, wow, yeah, I remember these days.
Those were the days.
Oh, thank God they're in the past. Sorry. I know you still got to go through them, but
it's okay. It's all right.
It was like the first big wah was no more diapers. Thank the Lord. And then the next one for us was car seat. Oh, I just could not stand it, because back then they were very manual and you had to thread the stupid the seatbelt through it. It took forever. And then we would switch cars and I'd pull it out and do that. I was like, I was all mad. And it's like, oh, then once that was graduated, then it was out of the little stroller, because we'd pack that thing to the hilt and it took an hour to go to a grocery store that was 5 minutes away. And each of those graduation steps was like, yes.
Yeah, but the biggest one was when they stopped daycare and we thought, oh, well, we can buy a yacht with that money. And we never actually We never bought the yacht, but
Well, there was still college coming, so you had to hold
yeah.
on to that. Yeah, and then it goes full circle, turns around on you. Then you probably went through this. You drop them off if they moved away for college, which our first one did, and it was only a 2.5, 3 hour drive. We could go see her anytime, but on the way home, I bawled like a freaking baby. My girl is gone. It's like, oh, it was joy. It was also sadness. It was everything rolled into one. It beat me up. And then we did it with our son after that, and the same thing. I'm like, oh man, it's hard, but it's also great.
Yeah.
Life is great. Every bit of it. We're not talking. How much have we talked business just during this talk, Coleen?
I don't think much at all.
I
And
don't
that's
think
that's
any.
the whole point. It's like it's all about living, like maximizing your life to its fullest potential for as many days as you have left. And if you can do that, then you've won more than the lottery. You have figured out the secret to life.
I remember as a younger one, I can't say young one because I wasn't really young when I had this epiphany, but for me, it was all about efficiency. And I was very analytical as a software engineer in my past life. And, I wanted to make sure I understood how to do the marketing, the sales, and the team building and all this stuff. You gotta do all this, the business side of things. And then I met my mentor and my eyes got open like, holy moly, you got to get your mind. You got to get that right first.
Yeah.
Where were you my entire life? How come no one else ever talked? No one talked about it until that day. That was like 13, 14 years ago now. And I was like, this is awesome. And now that's why I came up with mind body business. And I was a personal trainer at the time, certified personal trainer, and knew that now that I had NLP and working out together, once you have those two in place, now the business you can crush it. But without the mind and body, good luck, because you're going to be really diminished in your output, in your I can't think of the word, but in your productivity. It's really going to hurt if you aren't operating at a peak performance level on mind and body. Before you got to set the house up, you got to build the house, you got to nurture it, you got to get it strong, and then you go into business. And then, because Coleen, running a business is super easy. You don't really need to put that much energy into it, right?
Sort of. So when I find the more I am heart-centered, the more I lead from my heart and I get out of my head, it is actually easy.
True. That is so true.
Easier, maybe.
That's when you have found it's in alignment with you. That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. You still have to, make the connections and deliver a quality product, right? And do the things, but the, I think the selling part just it almost doesn't happen, right? Like it's a natural thing. It's more of like a conversational thing. Ooh, you're somebody I think I want to work with. Like, yeah, I like what you're about, right? At least that's the way I feel like I operate. When I find somebody that I really connect with, I'm like, yeah, I could work with them. Yeah. And I want what they have.
I want whatever Kool-Aid they're drinking. I want some of that. Oh, we got somebody. Maybe, do you know Natasha Sisplay? Hey, yeah. Is that ring a bell? No, okay, because I don't know.
I'm so bad with people's profile names, but yes, hi Natasha.
Oh, she comes, or yes, I think it's a she from Twitch, so that's more of a gaming platform. That's awesome.
Nice.
I think that's you never forget your first. I think that's our first comment ever from Twitch. So hey, Natasha, thanks for commenting. And I don't think that even was something that was hooked up for coming through here on StreamYard that we're using for this show. But anyway, my goodness, that was a great state change, wasn't it? Self-love, people pleaser. So there's self-respect of yourself. Once you have that, if you don't, I'm talking to everybody, you'll see so many things change for the better. You'll know who you are. You'll respect yourself. Others will respect you. That leads to massive increased confidence. Increased confidence leads to more business, more sales, because like you just said, Coleen, it becomes organic. You don't have to try so daggone hard, because if they're not a fit, they're not going to be a fit. You don't need to force it. Go on to the next. Do what you can. I'm not a fit. I know someone who might be. Go talk to them, and I'll help you that way. but I don't think I can do anything for you today. So the scarcity mindset can really, I've been through this, and I'm sure you have too, Colleen,
Oh
where,
yeah.
it's like anybody with a heartbeat and a credit card with room on it. You're like, yes, I got a client, but that could be a cancer to your business if they're the wrong client. So you got to be careful.
It has been. Yeah, I've definitely had a few clients where I'm like, I know this isn't right. Maybe they'll just, maybe I could spook them somehow, or I don't know. Like, there's got to be a way to get them to not want to work with me. And I have allowed them in, and it has been such a drain, like an energy
Yes.
drain, worse than I could have ever dreamt of. And every single one, I think I ended up saying, you know what, I think this isn't right. I'm meeting you way more than 50% of the way, right? If you're thinking about like, football field, got to meet in the 50-yard line. I'm
Yeah.
way over on the other side. You've got to come to me. And a lot of people just think if they throw money at things, like that's the end of their responsibility. It's like, no, I'm here to guide you, but you've got to do the work. Like you have to believe in your intuition, like to your core, that you are worth this change. And, maybe in the beginning you don't completely believe it, which is why we're working together. But like, you've got to believe that it's in there somewhere for you to make this change, or it'll never materialize. And so it's been a real blessing to be able to work with, some really high quality people that, just felt like there, here I am I'm segueing myself, but, I've had clients that are like, I'm just kind of going through the motions. Like, they're not like miserable, but they're just like, like, is this it? This is life? Like, we're done now? And that's actually really great because there's no real like trauma or anything, but I actually really love working with the ones that have that deep-seated trauma because they realize they can let that go. And they realize through, all the things that we do as we work together, to your point, like this is a choice. You can choose to stick with that story, or you can choose to write a different story. And it's so fun to be able to watch them be like, I wonder if I could do this. Like we can make it a game. We can make it, interactive. And those clients just get me going.
This is a great time to actually bring that up and go deeper into what it is you do, because I want people to know that you exist. I want people to know that they have a resource to go to that can literally change their life for the better forever forward. And so it's my duty as the host to make sure we extract that information from your beautiful brain there, Colleen. So if you don't mind, what I would like to do at this moment is I'll just pull up your website as a visual for everyone to look at. And then while that's up, would you please explain to everyone, who is your target market? Like, what's your ideal client? Is it male, female, certain ages? Is it company, corporations, single moms, maybe mompreneurs, or just single moms at home, whatever it happens to be? And then what are the kind of services you provide? We've kind of got it from a high level, I think, talking just now, but a little bit more specific, if you're okay with that.
Sure.
And then
Absolutely.
also, finally, the third part of the question would be, if you have a success story or two you'd like to tell. I know the audience would love to hear that, because I sure love hearing success stories. So if you don't mind, I'll pull that up and just let you take it away. Does that sound
I'd
good?
love to. Yeah,
All right.
absolutely. So, I work with women. I do have some male clients, but I really do work almost exclusively with women between the ages of 40 and 60. That said, my eldest client right now is 81. So, if you're over 60, you're not excluded, but I'm just talking about the bell curve, 40 to 60. And generally they're working moms. They have, all the titles, right? They're mom, wife, sister, neighbor, whatever they are. And they're just feeling completely depleted. They are pulled in so many different directions. They don't know how to, kind of make it all work together. And they have lost sight of the fact that they actually have their own identity, right? So I'm a mom, I'm a wife, I'm a whatever. I'm also Coleen. Remember her? She was really awesome before any of this other stuff happened, right? Before I met my husband, I became even better. Like that stuff is additive, but like you lose sight of yourself. And I work with them to reclaim, their identity, who they are. And, maybe we work to pivot their scenario, just like mine, where I was in a career that was slowly dying. For me, it was killing me. And I was able to make that shift. So depending on what their goals are, we work together, doing mindset coaching, removing the limiting beliefs that have them feeling stuck and get them on the path to their fullest potential. And then to your point about testimonials, I have so many. I'd have to pick my favorite. Well, one of the ones that's going on right now is a woman whose name I will not mention. She, in the first part of her life, dealt with some pretty significant trauma relative to sexual abuse. And then the second phase of her life was mostly, I don't know if you could say controlled. There was some control there, but really led by her husband and his choices. And so she had never, up until in the last year or two, really authored her own life. And so now she has just sold her house, bought a new house. She's, for the first time in her life, I think she's in her 60s, is leading her own life. She is doing all the things. The other day we were talking and she's like, I felt really guilty about buying, a new rug. And I was like, buy the rug, buy the rug. Okay. Just buy the rug. You are worth it. You have the money. Even if you didn't, that's none of my business. Like, buy the rug. Right. So it's like, it is such a blessing to work with someone like that, where you just see them like open up. They're just blossoming like a flower. I'm so proud of her. She'll know who she is because, she'll probably recognize the story if she's listening, but I'm constantly forcing her to give herself a high five. We're always on a call and I'm always like, high five. Right. And like, stop, I'm going to stop and you're going to give yourself a high five right now. And so I'm so proud of her. I've had other clients that have, needed to escape some really abusive scenarios and find, like a safe place to live, kind of re-architect their life from the ground up. And then I've had other clients that, have had body image issues, and I've worked with them to lose weight, but then also change their mindset too, right? Because they still inside feel like that little overweight girl that, like she's still in there, so we've got to like forgive her and love her and love who you are now. And so self-love is so important. It's cornerstone to everything I do. Like I am firm about that. Like if you learn nothing else, you will learn self-love, or we will not stop working together until you do.
I love that. And I love the whole high five thing. Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
Yeah, you've got to celebrate yourself. Give yourself a high five right now. Go ahead, Brian.
And it's so true, because we are often, all of us, our own worst enemy. As a former personal trainer, I'd have someone, I said, let's, part of the regiment, let's do 10 push-ups. And they would do, say, 5, and they'd get up and they'd be all dejected. I say, what's going on? Why do you look like that? Well, you told me to do 10. I only did 5. So I'm very disappointed in myself. I said, no. Did you give everything you had? Was that 5? That was it? You just had nothing left? They say, yeah. I said, tell you what, this is what I would do. Similar to high five. I say, take your hand, raise it up, turn it backwards, bring it over behind back of your shoulder blade, and give yourself a pat on the back. Instead of kicking yourself in the butt for the reps you didn't do, give yourself a pat on the back for those that you did do. Because when you put forth the effort, you are going to grow and improve if you continue to do so. So it's like, we all do it. Every one of us, we're all human. We self-deprecate, we everything. We are always beating our own selves up. So that's great. And that's the importance of having someone like Coleen in your corner. She's like a coach, because we look through our own lenses. She looks from a different vantage point and can see things you probably aren't aware of. And that's why it's so beautiful. It's great to have help. I used to, be all egotistical and this typical male kind of guy. I can fix everything. I can do it all myself. And then when I finally knocked that sucker off my shoulder and started opening myself up to help, that's when life started happening. That's truly when it started happening. So I am saying all this to recommend that everyone here reach out to Coleen Greco. And before I forget, let's tell people what your website is. It's ColeenGreco.com, and that is spelled ColeenGreco.com. ColeneGreco.com. I just thought of this. Is that the same as Greco wrestling? ColeneGreco.com. I just have these weird thoughts sometimes that come
I
in.
think it is. Yeah. Yeah.
But be sure to go there. And she also has a gift for everyone here that's watching. So don't go anywhere. And also, you might have saw it scrolling across the screen. I'll mention it real quick, is that if you stay until the end, you must be watching live. And most of you are still here. That's good. Wow, we actually increased our size since we started. If you stay until the end, you can enter to win a 5-night stay at a 5-star luxury resort. Compliments of Reach Your Peak LLC. And this is a legitimate bona fide vacation stay. It's not one of those where you enter the front door, they immediately take you down to the basement, strap you into a chair, water drip torch you into buying a timeshare. It is not that. It is an actual resort, and you get to choose from all over the world. There's many to choose from if you win, and the only way you win is to enter. So we'll be bringing that up here in a little bit. Let me see what we got going here. We'll get that off. ColeenGreco.com, ColenGreco.com. And one more shameless plug. If you don't have your copy of Mind, Body, Business, the book that inspired this very show, go get it right now. People like Coleen Greco have inspired me to write this book, but actually the book came first. It started over 10 years ago. Finally, brand new, out, hot off the press, 99 cents on Amazon and Barnes & Noble. MindBodyBusinessBook.com. All right, enough of that fun stuff. Now let's get back to the woman of the hour. My goodness, look at that clock just spinning like crazy. So, Coleen, there's one thing I love asking every individual I have on here. And then I want to let you know we're going to close out the show with a very unique question at the end. So the one coming up is not that one. And it's a very powerful and profound question. It's just unbelievably beautiful and wonderful and joyous, I will say. Yes. And so what I love to ask each and every individual that comes on this show that has a very thriving, successful business such as yourself is that, when it comes to getting clients, what every business wants to know what is the secret sauce? How do I market? Like what used to work 20 years ago, back when you could blast out an email to 1,000 people and actually sell to a good number of them on your first shot. That doesn't work anymore. I mean, it's rare. But now you come to today, what works today may not work 20 years out in the future. So the only thing that is important to all of us as business owners is what works now. And for you, if you were to pick out one marketing strategy that rises above all the others that you have employed over the years for your business, that is working right now, like if it's referral marketing, affiliate marketing, if it's paid ads, if it's whatever it is, what is the number one go-to marketing strategy for your business as it stands right now today?
But I don't have to say it in one word, right?
No.
Okay. So I'm trying to decide which word I want to use. Okay. So when I get vulnerable, and when they are personalized videos from me through social, I get the most engagement. When I am sharing my story and people say, I thought I was alone. I had no idea other people felt that same way. And, sometimes it'll work through a picture, but most of the time it's my video. So like they can feel my essence. They can sense, the hardship and the emotion and the hope. Right. So they get hope just by knowing that I am on the other side of that nightmare. Right. And that I have gratitude for it. So I can look back at that time in my life and say, I have such gratitude for it. The phrase I held on to was trouble is your transportation. Like I know this is going to get me to a better place. And so when people hear my voice, see my facial expression, and my words, that gets the most engagement.
Authenticity right there. The one word that comes through and yeah, video is massive these days. And you said it for all the right reasons. It's to, people will then get to know you at a deeper level, and that know, like, and trust factor builds over time. Having shows like this does the same thing. You have your own show or podcast, I understand. And so that is another great vehicle, whether or not you sell anything directly from it or not. That's not the purpose of this show. but it does give notoriety, just like authoring a book. I mean, this show was all I had until I got this done. And the book, I have so many friends and colleagues that have written a book, and it became their meal ticket. Not because they made money from the book itself, but because they said, I am an author. They got invited to speak on stages and be in circles that they otherwise wouldn't be. Same thing. You're showing up, Coleen. That is why you're seeing success. You're showing up. Being vulnerable is not easy for a lot of people. And kudos to you, because you are joyous and grateful for going through those hardships. Why would anybody want to be that way? Because look what she gets to do now. She gets to help everyone else who is going through similar hardships. Because she's been through it. She's found the code. She's unlocked the code, and she's giving that code to you. Who here wants to know the code? All you got to do, reach out, ColleenGreco.com. She is the one.
You're right. Vulnerability is a strength, right? People think it's a weakness. It's actually a strength. And once you make that shift, again, it's like you're just inviting all this greatness your way.
That's an absolute perfect business strategy, or a business tip to give everyone: vulnerability. I mean, do it within respectful terms and guidelines, but you want to be vulnerable so people can see you're a human being. You go onto social media and you see all these perfect lives, and I've got the greatest house, I've got this Lamborghini, I've got this great food, I'm out on the town with the greatest people. But in all honesty, they go through their crap too, just like all of us, but they don't show it. The key is to show it, is to pick some points and say, hey, I had a rough day today. Or, you know what? I went through a really bad time some time ago when my son attempted suicide. I mean, those are vulnerable, personal moments that people thrive on, because that makes it like, oh my God, Colleen's a human being just like me. I thought she was just this incredible superstar. She is. She's also a human being, which really makes her relatable. And that's a beautiful point.
There's no filter. My hair is very often in a very messy, like top of head bun. Like it's a look, right? but it's authentically me. And you're right. It's 100% vulnerable. And people are like, wow, she's real. And I think, somebody called out recently, and I want to make sure I share this too. First of all, my son knows I share this story. It's our story, but he's the hero. So I want to make sure I call that out too, that he is the one that did the work to now, be thriving the way that he is. I just got to witness it.
That's awesome. And I know you had a big part in that. You're a fantastic mom, and he's a blessed son. And I know you're a blessed mom for having him to show you strength as well. So, oh my God, how did it get so late, Coleen? My gosh. Well, we do have 2 gifts to give away and a final question. So we may go a little over time, just a warning to everybody. And I hope you stay with us to the very end, because I want somebody to win that prize. And I want you to get a great way to reach Coleen, and at the same time get something in return. How does that sound? And guess how much it costs? How much does it cost, Coleen?
Nothing.
0. Oh, it costs a little bit of time. You got to type in like your name, your email address. It takes that kind of time. That's it. So before we go any further, let's do that. Let's bring up Colleen's wonderful gift. I'll bring it up on the screen. Yeah, let's do that. I've got it ready. And then you can let people know what this amazing gift is. And just know that by doing this, you are going to be on her list and have that connection, and she'll be able to reach out to you, and you can have additional talks if you so choose to. But she has a whole website. You can go there and consult with her. She has calendars and stuff. Okay, enough blabbing, Brian. Let's bring it up. Wrong one. I want to do a different one first. Here we go. Yes. There we go. So I'm going to bring up the actual URL to get this fantastic gift, and then let you, Coleen, take it away and explain what it is they are in for.
Yeah, no worries. So, I call it an ebook from my corporate days. It's about 10 pages, guys and gals. Like, it is not super long, but it is 4 steps to breaking free from limiting beliefs. Those are the stories that are keeping you feeling stuck. And so those steps are outlined in the ebook. That should get you started. That should get you, identifying those stories, kind of like understanding how deeply rooted they are, and the steps to release them and let them go for good. And you can get that at ryp.im/Joyologist, JOYOLOGIST.
Dang, I love it when the guests do my work for me. Thank you for that. That was awesome. Yes.
You're welcome.
And it's RYP stands for Reach Your Peak, just to make it a little easier to understand. Remember, .im, like I'm without apostrophe, IM /Joyologist. And it's 100% free. And all you have to do is do exactly what you already want to do. And that is get your name and email in front of her so she can reach out to you and give you that ebook for sure. And now you have 1 foot in. She talked about taking that one step forward. This is that time for you. You might say, I don't need these 4 steps. Doesn't matter. This is a great test. Go ahead. Go fill out that form. Make this your take action moment that you might not or otherwise do. Take that uncomfortable step. If it's uncomfortable for you, that means it's probably the right thing for you to do. Isn't that interesting?
You're
With
absolutely
comfort
right.
and be telling you that that is the right thing to do. How many of you have ever thought that or knew that? Because it's true. Powerful stuff. And we have, man, that's like a cliffhanger, isn't it? Let's just leave it with that. Let them just marinate in that juiciness. That's, I don't know where I'm coming up with these weird metaphors here and descriptions and adjectives. But anyway, and so we also have one other gift that I can't wait to give away. And for all of you that are still, my gosh, great retention rate because of Coleen. Everyone's still on. Thank you for staying on all the way to the end. And you will be rewarded if you take action on this next screen. So first, I hope you wrote down ryp.im /Joyologist. Write that down. Don't go there yet. Take action right after the show's over. Here's another one for you. If you want to win a 5-night stay at a 5-star luxury resort from multiple locations from all over the world that you get to choose, then I'll put it up on the screen right now and write this down. We will still have staff around. We'll be waiting and monitoring for all entries, a random draw. Well, here it goes on the screen right now. ryp.im /vacation, all lowercase. Write that down. ryp.im /vacation. Right after the show, head on over there, enter to win. And I cannot wait to see who that winner is. And all of you who are watching, I hope it's you. I know it can't be all of you. Well, it could if I decided to give it to everybody. You know what? I'm feeling pretty good right now. Coleen, do you think it would be a good idea to just say anybody who enters on this show, I will grant that prize to you? I think that's pretty cool. This is a joy show. Let's just do that.
Your guests, right?
Including your,
and the guests too.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
In fact, and I always say this, but this time I didn't really need to because you're doing this is awesome. But guests are always eligible to enter to win this contest. I have had several guests win it. But if you enter it, you win it automatically. Anybody and everybody who enters, you will be a winner. Woo, that's first. I've never done this before. Never done this before. So Joyologist brought it out of me. She brought the joy out of me so I could pass it on to you. So thank you to Coleen Greco. You have her to thank for this. So be sure to write that down. ryp.im /vacation. Go to it and enter after we call it a night because we have one more amazing, heavy hitting, right between the eyes, beautiful, amazing question. Okay, it's not all that. But you know what? The best part of it is not the question. It's the answers. I've been doing this for a long time now. And this happened organically in the beginning. Coleen, I used to ask it on occasion during the show at some point. And then I started realizing, whoa, these answers, they are profound. There's something special about them. So I decided, I don't know, 3 years ago or so to end every show with the same question. And I hope you didn't peek at the past shows and know what it is, because that's the spontaneity of the response is also very important. And well, do you think that's something you want to actually tackle? Has the buildup been enough for you?
Is that the question, or is
that... you are awesome. I love your sense of humor. You are just, I mean it. You are so fun. You are joyous all the time. I love it. That was not the question. Nope. Okay. Sorry. It's not that easy.
Okay. I think I'm ready. I think I'm going to nail this one.
Ooh, you know what? You are. I know it for a fact. Everyone before you has, and you will just. But here's 2 things, and then I'll ask a question. 2 wonderful things about it. Number 1 is there is no such thing as a wrong answer. It's not a quiz. It's not a test. It's the exact opposite. The only correct answer will be yours because it will be unique to you. That includes how long it takes for you to come up with your answer. If it's instant, perfect. If it's 15, 20, 30 seconds, perfect. Doesn't matter. And I will say one last thing to help you with this. No, one-word responses are probably not good because I have a great plan on this. I am going to be making a collaborative book with everyone's answers in the book.
Love it.
And so I'll be reaching out to you for permission, all that good stuff. And when we finally get them all compiled and edited and all that fun stuff. So that's a hint to say, one sentence, 2 sentences, probably not. If you can go a little farther, that'd be good. But whatever it is for you is perfect. Even if it's a short 2-word answer, that's cool too. You have a whole page with 2 words on it. All right. With all that wonderful, amazing buildup, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Oh, of course you are. Coleen Greco.
Yes, sir.
How do you define success?
Okay. How do I define success? I define success by knowing what is in my heart and making sure that it is connected to the things that I need to be doing. So when I feel like I'm in full alignment, when I'm leading with my heart, I know I'm being successful in anything I do. It feels completely organic. When I'm in my head, I get this pain. Like I get like a physical reaction because I've done the work to understand the difference. But success to me is being heart-centered, bringing joy to people in a variety of different forms and leaving their life a little bit better than how I found it.
Did not disappoint as usual. Coleen Greco, you are an amazing young woman. You are doing amazing things. You are helping so many people. I am so blessed to have crossed paths with you, to get to know you. I hope we keep this relationship going well into the future. Can't wait to see you and your husband, your kids come on over and say hi and have some fun here in Florida with us. Yep, that offer's still out there on the table. So don't forget. And I can't wait to meet your husband. Sounds like a great guy too. And
Awesome guy.
yeah, I mean, my gosh, what you guys have all been through together probably made you even better, stronger. And so you're a blessing. Thank you. That is our show, ladies and gentlemen. That was and is Coleen Greco. Definitely reach out to her. Don't forget ryp.im/joyologist or go to ColeenGreco.com. And she has a calendar there. You can hook up and get an appointment and talk to her one-on-one, really get to know her at a deeper level. And what you see is what you get. This is the beautiful thing. This is authenticity. She will show up on that call just like she did this very show. No phoniness to her whatsoever. I've done this a long time. You are true blue, authentic, and I appreciate you, Coleen. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you, Brian. This was great. Like, I'm so humbled and I had a really, really good time. So I appreciate the opportunity.
Oh my goodness. The fun has been on my side. Thank you so much. On behalf of the amazing Coleen Greco, I am your host, Brian Kelly of the Mind Body Business Show. Until next time, I want you to please do 2 things. Well, 3. I want you to enter to win the vacation stay out 4. And I also want you to fill out the form at ryp.im/geology. And then 2 more things. One is, please do everything in your power to go out and crush it in your business. Why? Because when you do that, you can serve and help more people. And number 2, above everything and all else, everyone, please be blessed. That's it for us. We'll see you again next time. So long for now. Thank you for tuning in to the Mind Body Business Show podcast at www.themindbodybusinessshow.com. My name is Brian Kelly.